Hi. So I need to report from the front of the schizos. Um, I I will try to I don't know make use this like kind of wording and this like kind of ideology that I came upon, where it is basically I think the main ideology is that there is a war between psychos, normies, and schizos. And I mean, it is a simplification of things, but it is, you could say, some of the main root of the problem scheme. Um, so to start off, just that you know where I'm coming from. Like I'm not really a a normal citizen in that kind of sense. I'm right now 24, and I've been around a lot. I've been alone a lot, and that's just my own kind of perception. Sometimes feel like I have like lived like twice or three times as long as other people sometimes. Um, like kind of, that like, I don't know, time is relative or something, and like all the loneliness, and I got like raised to don't get distracted all the time, or at least have awareness about it, and that it is better like to not hang on the phone all the time, or the TV, and like that your attention has a worth, basically, because whatever you pay your attention to, um, like paying it is an investment, you could say. And maybe it is good to evaluate if the thing you're giving your attention right now to is worth your time. And I'm getting off track. But yeah, I don't know. It's a long story. That's what I can say. It's a long story. So it might take some time. I got some cigarettes over here. And because, yeah, I don't know. It's rough, man. It's rough. Um, I've been trying to figure out what is going on for quite some time. Um, I don't know how much years I've spent, but of course I went 10 years to school, or to be fair, like 10 and a half. And I think it started like when I was like 17, around 16, 17. So like just when I dropped out of school. And I started like watching a lot of YouTube shit, right? The normie stuff, right? The state propaganda, like kurz gesagt, and also because I'm a gamer, and so my English skills were pretty well developed when I dropped out of school. Or like I didn't get kicked or something. I dropped myself, you could say. I could have gone further to get like a college degree or something, but I was happy that I did the mandatory, and I didn't plan to do further the academic line. I don't know. School was torture for me. I was happy and relieved when I could. I'll finally leave it behind me or something. Well, that's why I thought it's also a different story. But yeah, I've and I had different phases, right? I think most people go through similar phases. Um, the most notable was the nihilistic one. I think that was like 1 year after I started researching stuff, and it is, I think, just the logical result when you really try to evaluate what the like the narrative is of this world, right? Um, and like what it's built upon, what's good, what's evil, what's allowed, what's not allowed, what happened, why we got here, stuff like that. Stuff what is maybe not to question too much, and like it is interesting that the narrative, it's not like a book or something, like the Bible perhaps, like the narrative for the population, um, is a bunch of like puzzles that like are like scattered around. So it's like really hard to piece it like together, and you kind of like notice like it's hard to work with what the people like give you, like the normal people, what like the normal narrative is, because there's no value behind it much, because in the end it's really scientific, and it is, yeah, like the only good and evil stuff is that I guess you like have like empathy and stuff like that, but there's no higher beings and stuff like that, and it's basically that we're like animals and just a bit smarter or something like that. And yeah, and we face like total problems, right, like global warming and stuff like that. And before that we had the Cold War, and there's like it seems like annihilation at doorstep sometimes, uh, depending on what kind of rabbit hole you're running down to. But of course, like the state media is also with a lot of built on a lot of fear, right? Yet fear that is never really dealt with. It is like you just meant to swallow it. Like that's the way it is. Deal with it, because like probably someday the system will just regulate itself, right? I mean, if the politicians get too corrupt, then we have like police and like law and shit like that, right? So it's meant to regulate itself. And when the corporations get too greedy, then it will regulate itself somehow, right? And we just need to demonstrate a bit and stuff like that, right? I mean, of course, in the end, you see there's like nothing is really changing, right? We're going down the same path for a couple of years, and also if you look, I mean, that's like the stadium where I'm right now, where I found like some neat information and rabbit holes that give you information that is actually worth something. I wouldn't say that it's good still to know what the state narrative is, right? But it was quite refreshing when like with Freemasonry and the secret societies, Zionism, the origin of Christianity, and that basically what I'm trying to fight for hasn't existed for like since like a couple thousand years probably, because the Christians came and just yeah, probably completely peacefully took over all the cultures of Europe, and yeah, no, it's a rough story, and usually it's with the politicians and the billionaires and stuff like that, and all the people that you see in the media. I mean, of course, it sounds really conspiracy theory like, right? That it's just a show and they're all like just puppets basically. And if you look them all up, they're like all connected and in the same clubs and went to similar schools and stuff like that. And yeah, but it's a bit like that. I don't know, I have to say. And yeah, also I had the phase where it was a pretty short one, where it went down from like this like state acceptable being like kind of left to just going down the fully right-wing rabbit hole. And I don't know, I just never had really the feeling that there is a choice. There's nobody to choose, right? Inside of the system, there's nobody to choose. I mean, you can have like your parents maybe, or your friends, if you have some of those. I kind of don't have anymore. And but like stuff that's like inside of the system, like politicians, they're not gonna save us, right? And I mean, I think nobody really expects them to. And of course you have like the fanatics who don't really understand that parties and politicians are basically also just part of like how you say it, profit orientated businesses, right? They're basically like from the nature, their whole existence is already a capitalistic one. So it's kind of hard for them to, like, when it comes heart to heart, And I've also there was like the thing, I didn't want it just to understand what is going on. I wanted to understand or figure out a way to fix it, because I don't know, I had like this feeling for quite a while that we're like all kind of, I don't know, like the sheep, right? We're like the herd, and theoretically there's nothing wrong with that, but of course if the shepherd doesn't really have good intentions with the sheep, right? Maybe it tries to live off their suffering, or anything else, of course then it might be questionable where he is leading us. And I've just really came up with one idea. And the one idea would be to have something consumable for the mind, information exchange, without it. Oh yeah, I mean, and then the further thought would be, right, like how to do something like that, and of course what to put into it, right? But like kind of like trying to beam a message to humanity, something that is so relatable, so mind-provoking, so everything, sad, funny, joyful, that it would spread like wildfire. Something that would actually give a functional way of thinking to deal with that situation right now. To remind of what it means to be weak, what it means to be strong, things that should be achievable, things that are mandatory, things that the people up there are trying to confuse us with. Show them how the world is running, show them who the enemy is, and unite the people of the world, right? The working class, to stand up and in the end to bring back the state to the people, that the state is actually serving the people, that the state is actually doing what it's meant to do. And part of it is, in my opinion, to regulate people who are like banking, basically regulating banking. And then the question, of course, comes down to, let's just say, okay, you have the whole wisdom of the world with the neatest metaphors and explaining on different kinds of level, explaining for different kinds of archetypes, for different kinds of cultures. Then, of course, the question is, okay, how do you do it? Do you write a book, right? And then I think, nah. So it probably should be like something like a movie. I don't know, probably like some kind of animation, something that is like, I mean, of course, it would be nice if it would be pleasing for the eye. But of course, in the end, it's more of like a rebellion thing, right? It's more of like the underdog thing. So I think a more sloppy style might not even be too bad for it. But it should be something more, I think, in the cartoony way, something that theoretically could also just be shown to kids. Something that could also, I think cartoons are great in that way, because this like simplification just in the style of art, it reshapes the mind. Kind of interesting. Yeah. But the issue with that kind of is it's a lot of work. And to be fair, I just have gotten recently to the point where I really feel like I know it all. At least where I feel like I got the rough understanding that I kind of have like the feeling of being like a, how we would say in German, like a round thing. Eine runde Sache. And of course, there's like further investigations to make, especially on the history part of things, right? That is also probably a part of the thing that should be done to tell the people how do we get to this point, where did we came from, right? And because like I think we all know in our hearts that life is not meant to be like that, so harsh, so cold, so calculated, and yeah, basically just infested by evil, to be fair, at this point. Yeah. And it's a rough story, man. It's a rough story, man. And like kind of the thing was, so I kind of like dedicated my life to like, yeah, knowledge, and I really wanted to know what is going on. And none of my friends had much interest in like that kind of stuff. My mom was maybe somewhat investigated. She was more like on like a spiritual side of things, like the higher planes of reality and stuff like that. Was at the start never really my thing. When I got older, I kind of understood a bit what she was talking about. But, or at least that there was something. It's still, of course, questionable how serious you want to take it. I don't think it does much, to be fair. I think it's important to know that there is something behind the certain, that there's something behind reality, if you want to see it like that. But I think nobody will really know, and I think everything the mind can like perceive of something outside of reality is it's hard to explain, right? It's hard to extract this kind of knowledge, and I know a lot of people try to extract knowledge from the beyond, and there is interesting stuff to find, not gonna lie, which really makes you believe there is something. It really seems like there is certainly something, and I mean, if you get to a certain point, I think even being alive you can feel it. Sometimes you can just feel it, that there is something to it, that you can theoretically, like me right now, sit in the dark, talk to your phone, be completely alone, and yet you feel watched. Maybe I'm just schizo, right? But I really feel like when your emotional vibrance reaches a certain level, it feels like you're getting interesting or something. But either way, I also spend a lot of time like being like psycho naughty, you know, and trying to figure out like the stuff that's not really meant to be figured out. Let's say it like that. But that's just a side hustle. The main hustle really was to see what is going on over here, and of course the question, even if there needs to be a fix, right? But I think that seemed kind of obvious from the start of my dedication, that it really seems like it's not going too well, right? And I don't know, I just remember like when I got like to the age of like I don't know, like 13 or 14, and especially of course when you see when I started seeing like older movies. For me especially, it was Indiana Jones, like how the people were like walking around, how they were like dressed and stuff like that, and it just seemed so appealing in so many ways. And then when I looked like in my life, I see like all this like modern bullshit, They feel like, something is really missing. And like an aesthetic, like this like feeling that like the thing that I'm part of is not just just some scammy shithole. I mean, I live in Germany. It's not bad. Of course, it's not bad, but like with the new architecture and I don't know. It's like I mean, it opens like the second thing, like and it's something that most people have real trouble with. It's the question of do things get worse every day? Or theoretically, name something good, something that's and I mean, of course, not in your personal life. I mean, like on the world. And of course, it's a bit a tricky one because the media is talking. I mean, sometimes the German media actually talks about good stuff. It still like tries to like present like a how you say, like a pristine world. But of course, like I don't know, like with the gaming stuff, the financial stuff, the quality of things, and then like all the stuff that is just like turning out to be a scam, like also stuff from the gaming, the Bitcoin or like the other shitcoiny stuff, and everything just seems to get more and more obvious to be a scam of extracting even the last pennies out of the population and transferring it to the top. And I mean, like, for example, in Germany, it's like crazy, like how much money is just, it just fell off the truck. And how rich theoretically we could be. But yeah, it's like, and also like the European Union, the politics, and same for America, of course, it just seems to be, to get more and more like a big scam. And I don't think it's meant to be like that. I don't think people want it, and I don't. And then it comes to a different question. How could we get to this point, and why is nothing changing, right? Why is there no movement or something big? Where because I'm pretty sure there's some people like me thinking like that, but and even a lot of normies, I think, for themselves. But of course, the normies don't really want to go, too far beyond, Otherwise, they might just become a schizo, and it's pretty warm in the herd of the normies. And I need a cigarette, man. And it's like it really seems, for me, even like before I went down into this like schizo versus this rabbit hole, I had like the feeling that there's like an invisible wall, because just like from the outside, right, taking it simple, you see those aesthetics of the earlier days, and you see like the beauty of the old world, and then you just snap back into reality, and you see what is here, and you just instantly feel like it's like on a spiritual level, if you want to see it like that. It just looks like they've bombed the aesthetics away. It's like a wasteland, I mean, I still have like an old, real good old wooden table. That is like kind of like a piece of the old world. So it's not completely gone, but just when I look like at the stuff what I'm smoking my cigarettes with, and like my ashtray, and like Of course, I've tried to spend the money into getting some more old-fashionable stuff that actually has some aura. But yeah, I don't really have much money since a while. So, and yeah, I live more in my head than in the three-dimensional realm. So it's not really that I need to take too much care about it or that it does a big effect. So either way, from the result of my couple of years of researching, well, I think I've spent half the time researching stuff on YouTube, just going down rabbit holes, and like I really try to watch stuff that is like relevant to some degree. Of course, I also watch a lot of stuff which is not that relevant, but I mean, it is kind of everything connected. You can sometimes see some metaphors. But the other half of the time I've spent just searching in myself. I've been alone a lot, and my to explain that, I think it's the most reasonable suggestion I could make. That I think it's telling about me. My mother used to punish me because sometimes, I mean, when I was young, I don't know, I think it started when I was like 6, when I went to school. When something happened that, well, like when I did something she couldn't understand, like the reasoning behind my doing, right, of a 6-year-old, and she couldn't understand, then she was like, not locking, but she was sending me into my room and saying like, okay, think about it and tell me why you did that, and when you come out, you tell me. And it happened multiple times, not that often, but often enough that it became like part of my training, of my raising. That she would like demand a lot of cognitive power, no? Cognitive energy, and it was really important for her. And it was also like every time something happened, I was always to suspect that I was in the wrong first. That was also like the first thing I should always consider, that maybe it was my wrongdoing, or maybe it has to do something with me. Yeah, it was not the healthiest, not gonna lie. But it was also not the worst. My mother was also kind of old-fashioned, and she was like quite a character herself. She ran away when she was 13, was in the street for a couple of years, taking drugs, being with the other homeless people, almost being sold to the mafia. And then she worked her way up until she could go to university. She got me way too early when she was 19. Yeah, I don't know. And she wanted to prepare me for life she thought I had to deal with. And my mother was really obsessed with reality, because her trauma, because she ran away from home, because she was being framed as being like the black sheep of the family or something, and doing everything wrong, even though she was just a normal girl doing normal girl stuff. And I guess then with being homeless and the drugs, I think she understood how important it is to be the master of your own reality, to don't let perceive yourself into something that is not. And it's really important for you to be sure about what you perceive. And I mean, I would say she's not wrong, right? And so that's where, at the point where we are. I have the feeling that this world used to be fair and balanced. And this balance was disturbed by probably humans that even in old civilizations found out that there is more in the beyond, more than just the god of fairness, if you want to see it like that. That there are certain entities that thrive on stuff that is connected to this world, that they can feed off stuff that is happening over here. And they don't really... I'm pretty sure there's also probably entities that feed on good stuff, I guess. But the more problematic ones, the ones we need to focus on, I guess are like the guys like Baal, or what they call them, and Abraxas, and stuff like that. The louche farmers is also, I guess, part of this like kind of schizo rabbit hole. And it really seems like that this planet and mainly humanity got sold. They got sold to these demons. And those billionaires, politicians, Freemasons, Zionists, whatever, Of course they all have their own visions. I mean, it's like typical, right? They're like the minions of the devil, if you want to see it in a more Christian way. I still don't think it's really important to concentrate too much on these entities. I think it's just enough that there is certainly something. Cultures across all of the recorded history have done, the stuff that is like their calling card, if you want to see it like that, right? Because think about, why would you torture a child and give it to the gods? What? How do you come up with that shit, right? And then not just the question how you come up with that, you can say, drugs, or tribal people are just stupid and stuff like that, which is also, I think, something you should evaluate. Of course, the question is, they do it in multiple cultures, maybe actually in most, sooner or later. And it seems to be like a theme, a pattern, right? That some shaman at some point, I don't know, decide to torture and I forgot the word, sacrifice these animals, humans, children to the gods. And I mean, of course, if in a fair world, I would say, okay, let's say you have a rapist in your tribe or something like that, and he's just a complete psychopath, and he's not even hiding it, then I guess then you can sacrifice him to the god of fairness to have justice or something like that, right? That seems reasonable. But a child, and it's just it's an interesting thing. I think it's just an interesting theme. And also with all the other shit, the similar architecture, the similar kind of rituals among different cultures and stuff like that, and especially, of course, that they do it until this day. That our elite, the people who are building this new world order, who basically mostly have most in their hands already, especially the minds of the people, they do this shit, right? And then you say, okay, they're just some billionaires and they have nothing else to do. But come on, what is it like? Well, that's not an argument, right? I mean, of course you have better stuff to do than to build an illegal system of like child trafficking, so they like end up at these like islands to be pleasure for the most rich and famous. Uh, that seems a bit far stretched, like just because you have like nothing else to do, or like because it gives you the itch or something. And when you see like how these like secret societies are built up, and like with MK Ultra, and how like the Hollywood and like all the puppets are created, not all, but some of them, the important ones maybe, that there's like these like you know what I mean, right? These like rituals that take your humanity away, basically, that turn you into something different, that split your psyche into a second self, and also like that goes into this like reborn ritual with the Freemasons and stuff like that. And there's like a bunch of stuff that's like certain like centered around this like stuff of like changing people into basically being good little evil minions for the devil, yeah, or for the entities, or for whatever. Really, I don't think it's important to focus on what this evil entity is or something like that, because I think as long as we don't find the gods that are like rival to them, I think we just really have to cut off those people who are selling us to them, who are doing these rituals, who have basically lost their humanity, their soul, to these entities, and that created a whole system that more and more turns this planet into a prison planet, into a luge farming planet. And I don't think it was the main I don't think it was like this from the start, because I know there's like some certain authors and shit like that who think like that. But I think life could be fair. I think that we just are right now at a point where most of the reality has been flipped upside down, that the normal fairness doesn't work anymore like that. It's reversed fairness, so it's even worse than unjust, you could say, right? Where basically the filthy, the stinky, the psychopaths, or not just the psychopaths, but just like unworthy people are at the top, and the real humans, the real heroes are at the bottom. Of course, you could say it sounds a bit no, I don't know, because I don't want to say, what is a hero, but and we can come to this part, because I mean, yes, I'm alone a lot, but of course I talk to people. I've done a lot of stuff to get my ass out. I was a big introvert, but I've been traveling, I've been at the military, did a couple of different jobs. I know I'm only 24, but I've spent my time well. And the thing I've noticed, the biggest, something that I think everyone has in common I've met, is they will always choose their happiness over anything else, basically. So if the truth, or the true love, or higher meaning, being fulfilled, having like a higher purpose, all that stuff sounds nice, but if it's not like happiness, or like this like kind of because like happiness is hard to measure, right? But like happiness is like a higher state of feeling positive, but you can also feel lower positive, and we wouldn't call it happiness. It's still like it's like 20% happiness, right? There can be like different levels of it, right? But people would rather choose to be more in like lower levels of happiness than to feel very, very shit, and therefore sometimes maybe very, very happy. And of course, I think people just instinctively understand that understanding and like understanding how this world is running will break you. I think they just intuitively know that. And and it's crazy that like even religious people, and also other psychonauts or people taking or having taking like some psychedelics. I haven't found a person yet that is willing to die for a thought. Somebody who's willing to die for something that is not himself, maybe. And also like with like people inside of the politics, left or right wing, like they do stuff until it starts to hurt themselves. Which for, of course, most people, the sheep, the herd, if you want to see it like that, makes sense. But I haven't found any other one. And that's why I don't really have friends or family anymore. Um, because I never stop. I never stop with this. And I can talk about more trivial stuff. But at a certain point, it feels like wasted cognitive energy. When you're really trying to figure out what is happening, there's still a lot to think about. There's still like trivial stuff that still is part of the big picture. But there's also, like, especially in modern times, a lot of trivial stuff that is actually just trivial, that actually is saying nothing. Or even worse, like having like little misinformation in it, like little misperception, being like part of like this agenda of turning everything upside down. And so I really tried to find people like me for a long time. And I haven't. Because morals are nice, but if you really take it far, there's not much jobs to do. Or in my case, I really want to use my potential. I really want to fix something. I really want to help and to clarify, to bring peace among the tribes and unite them against our enemy, to remind them who the real enemy is. And of course, that a little part of the enemy is in every one of us. Everyone can pretty easily sell their soul to the demiurge, or whatever entity you might find for yourself. And it can happen without seeing it, without noticing it. Yeah. And especially the normies, right? The normies are like being possessed. They have like sold their soul and they don't even know it. And a good example of that is my father. My father is a Christian, but like a really soft one, like because I got like suicidal, which is also, I mean, why we're here. Um, and he basically, and I was talking about about his religion and stuff like that, and trying to make him understand why, you know, why I'm here, why I'm at this point, why I'm starting to break. And he told me that, yeah, but like in the face of death, religion is not that important. Like, what has that to do with that? So it's anything with that. It's about like your life, right? And you're feeling bad. What has like the Bible to do with it? And I'm not making this shit up, you know. And he's like, like a reasonable smart man. He has a job, but he's like, yeah, I don't know. He reminds me a bit of like Larry from Rick and Morty. And my mom is like the complete opposite, right? Complete fighter. Yeah, has seen the world from below and above. And my father's just like a pretentious prick. And I think it's also really telling about the state, right, of the world. Of course, also the reversing of the genders. And yeah, that was also like a little problemski for me. Like, I really wanted to have like love, because my mom, she had like, you could say a hatred for men. I don't know. I mean, she was really feministic, but she wasn't like a lesbian or something. And she had a couple men. But she was like being disappointed over and over again. And I mean, she tried different types and stuff like that. And but yeah, like sooner or later she was always disappointed, and it was also part of my raising that yeah, like I was meant to be a better man and be like a good provider, if you want to see it like that. And she told me basically everything that she thinks in her mind was important for a woman. And especially since my father wasn't around, of course. There was like no masculine like counter to that. So I got like I got like really feminized, basically. Which is okay. The good thing is that my mom had like more masculine traits than my dad, so it was like somewhat balanced. But yeah, but the only problem is then I had like like she indoctrinated me a bit, and also like it was also a thing of myself. I don't know, but like that sexuality is like something more holy. My mom wasn't religious or anything like that, but like sexuality is something holy, and I only should like if I get intimate with a woman, it should really mean something, and I should try to look for real love. And but I think I also had that going myself a bit. I'm not too sure how much my mom um, had influence in that decision, but yet it is the way it is. I also saw it as honorable to wait for something special. And over the years I had a couple requests came. But like the problem was, every time I liked a girl, she had like a boyfriend or anything else. And a couple girls did like me, but I didn't like them. And yeah, that's basically the point where we are. I really tried everything, from jobbing to going out to. I also partially, sometimes temporarily, I had like a friend group or something, or some people to do some stuff with, because it was for somebody like me always really hard to just go out by myself and do something. And also the world is not really structured like that anymore. Especially, I mean, I got out of my being an introvert, but of course not that much that I'm just like openly talking to everyone like we're all living in the same village or something like that. But yeah, I don't know, I just was really unlucky, it seems. I just was really unlucky. And yeah, and then I really got more and more to my breaking point because my mother, like the woman that basically brought me on this journey, if you want to see it like that, right? Kind of like the officer, like or like my my base camp trainer, my drill sergeant. Yeah. Um, she I don't know, turned really mad, and I basically did nothing, and whatever I did, and even if I did nothing, she was like completely paranoid that I am like a bad son. Basically, I don't know. It's a long story, but yeah, and we were talking like with like some psychologist as the three, and at like the fourth session or something, she said, "No, it's I cannot talk with this guy." Blah 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 blah. So I don't have any contact to my mom anymore. And to be fair, the contact I had in the last couple of years were mostly troubled. My dad is still around, and I live still in this area, but every time I meet up with him, I just want to kill myself. Because like he's always saying the same stuff, and he doesn't get me at all. Like he doesn't get the struggle. He doesn't understand the struggle. And he's also completely oblivious to what is going on. And there's so much I could say about it. I think he's really telling. Our relationship, I think, is really, really telling. Of like, yeah, like the boomers and the Gen Zers, and how we're on our own, guys. I think maybe some of you are more lucky than me and have parents that kind of understand, but I think we're on our own. And then, yeah, I don't have any friends anymore because, like, yeah, most friendships are just yeah, like a energy contract, and they just don't vibe with my energy, like and you know, like I got raised to be really reflective, so I let him speak. I ask him questions. I let him talk about stuff that they like to talk about, so I can talk about stuff that I like to talk about, like trying to build it on a fair scale. But when you meet up for like a third time or something, they're like getting like really, really tired, and they, I don't know, it just exhausts. It's just exhausting them to pick down and reflect on reality each and every time. And all they want to talk about is like Battlefield 6 or the World Cup, or you know, like the current thing, right? The current thing. Um, so and I don't know. I haven't met any real schizos, and I just met like a couple of like ADHD kiddies who were like still at the start of their journey, but yeah, I don't know, and also it's like I don't know. In the end, I'm alone. Like right now, I'm pretty much alone. It's not like that I'm technically alone. Technically, there is like I could call my father, like I said, but like when I will talk to him, I just want to kill myself after it, because it just reminds me of how hopeless everything is. That maybe fairness is still in place, and we just too stupid, yeah, and we're just powerless. We're just being outsmarted. Yeah. But I mean, if you understand that the people don't really even see the enemy clearly, and focus on little things that basically change nothing, wasting that little revolutionary energy that is being redirected into stuff that turns it into nothing. And it really it's breaking me, and especially that feeling that I will suffer for like in this like loneliness, because like I know there's people on the internet, and like I know there exist people like me, but every time I find someone like that and I want to get close to them, they're like vanish, right? And all the people I get are like pretty much just normies, and I just have to try to vibe with them and like try to like blend in, basically, and like normalize myself a bit to be like sociable with these kind of people. But of course it's draining more energy from me than they are giving me back, so it's mostly a lose scenario, which is just doomed to fail. And I don't know where you're meant to find like proper schizos, right? And especially a woman. That's like a whole other thing. Like most of the stuff I did was also in the search of putting myself out there, maybe finding someone nice. And I got close a couple times, but in the end it never worked. And lately I really feel like that it's like it's just not meant to be. With all the people I have, and especially because I've been a little bit suicidal for some time, but it's really like that's why I'm talking here. It's really getting really close, and I just want to share my thoughts. I know it's not the most neat thing, and probably there won't be any nice pictures, and there won't be any cutting. This is like completely raw, but I've done quite my bit to the war effort, but it was all for nothing. Like all the stuff, all the shit I talked with people about, in the end it just did nothing. And the only thing that changed was basically that I've been getting closer to my breaking point. And I mean, I had also nice conversations with people, and maybe also eye-opening, but never to a point where somebody actually had like this like existential revisiting of himself and reevaluating. And people think that information, reality, philosophy is just like something ordinary, something like I don't know. They don't take it too serious. They just don't take it too serious. And I mean, we face doom. We're facing doom, and maybe the world will regulate itself, maybe, but we can see that the thing that is building up is meant to last. And there was put a lot of thought, a lot of effort, and a lot of energy from us into this new world order, and they thought about a lot, it seems like. And that's also why I think that it's not mainly the Zionist people, that the main bad guys are really those entities, because what is the end result meant to be? The end result is meant to be like a cultural indistinctive mass, like a gray soup of like where nationality is more like of like a LARP thing, because your bloodline is like mixed with like 27 different cultures that all doesn't exist anymore. And that like really importantly to seal the grave of the old world, because it is already in the grave. People are shit talking the old world a lot every time you bring it up. I remember there was like a woman I was working with for some years, and we met up like a couple months ago, and I was talking about the old architecture and how nice cities used to look like in Germany. And she was saying, yeah, but those were all built with slavery. And I was like, bitch, what are you talking about? And she was like, okay, yeah, maybe not slavery, but the working conditions were like super harsh. And I was just like, I just instantly know she doesn't have any source. And to be fair, it's not that I would care that much. It just shows what she wants to think, what she needs to think. Because if you would accept that maybe where we came from is better than now, would mean that, maybe it is actually getting shittier, right? Maybe this is actually not meant to be like this. And it's like part of the the foundations of this world and the new world order. Or to be fair, I think the new world order, when it will be laid out, I don't think the Nazis, the old world, I don't think it will have to do much. I think it's really just a transitioning phase where we're in right now. And the transitioning phase is from 1945 until, who knows, when the one world government is around, and we're all being monitored by digital ID cameras everywhere, where they're tracking everything, and they're the new gods. Like, I have the feeling right now of being watched by God. I'm actually already being watched by the evil, the powers that be, right? Because like my phone is listening all the time, and I mean, it's not that bad yet, but it will of course get to a point where mostly everything you do will be monitored in some kind of way, and it will be a complete new reality. Yeah, it will more and more just also feel like a prison planet. Yeah, that you better stay in your lane, that you're being watched all the time, that everything you say, do, and express can be used against you if there's like further stuff happening, right? And so and I mean, you see, right, with the humans, like the normies, the agents of the system, right? Yeah, they really love to protect their narrative, right? They really love to protect the herd, even though it's completely a pile of shit, and they know it, but it's everything they have. And that's like the main difference, I think, between the schizo and the normie. The schizo just accepts the homelessness. He just accepts that, okay, my home is a pile of shit. What I was getting born into is basically mostly a lie, and I rather go homeless than to live in this pile of shit with the normies. And I think luckily there's hope to find. There is nicer places to find. Maybe not in the present. Maybe you have to live mostly in your head, but there is still, or there used to be, a very nice world, and sometimes partially it still exists today in some places. And the old world is not completely dead yet, but I think we're getting close to it. And yeah, and then at one point the new system will be implemented, and it will be like nothing was ever if there was nothing ever else, like nothing ever happened before that. The system of eternity. Like, I don't think like it will be an eternity, but I think it's meant to last. And I don't know. It's hard to say in years, but I don't think it will be my problem anymore. Yeah. I tried really to talk with the people, to also work a lot with myself, but it seems like I weren't able to make a significant impact to the war. And it really seems like I wouldn't say the schizos are losing, humanity is losing. Yeah. And maybe not just humanity, because like we see how the system is also targeting wildlife, right? And like like a simple thing, they have like cherry blossom trees in Germany, and of course, yeah, they can look nice and stuff like that, and a lot of people go out and make pictures with them, but they don't belong here. It's kind of funny. It's a bit like you could see parallels to the migration. They don't belong to this German ecosystem, those Japanese trees, and so they have like all the insects basically leave them alone, and also the plants don't really know how to act with the cherry blossom trees, and the state has to like there's like people that need to look out for these trees because they're just in the wrong ecosystem, and so they need like special help from the state to stay alive, so the people can take Instagram images with them. I think it was a really telling thing. Yeah, instead of just planting some good old original German trees. But yeah, in the end, it's not right. It's all a lie. It's not about because yeah, then they say, oh, we planted trees, we planted cherry blossom trees. Isn't that nice, guys? And then there's like this one guy, this one biologist coming up saying, well, actually, they don't really help the ecosystem at any point, and they're just basically not helping. And then it's like, yeah, but they look nice, and why are you so pessimistic? Huh? We planted some trees. I mean, that's something, no? And yeah, it's like also like this like toxic positivity thing is also pretty crazy. Like people are just like conditioned to stay positive all the time. And or at least everything also needs to have a positive note. Everything needs to have the happy end, you know? And it is natural for us humans, and I also like to believe in a happy end, right? The old Germans called it the Endsieg. So it's not like that I'm completely that I think like this like line of thinking is completely wrong. I just think it's completely redirected. People are just conditioned to don't go the further steps, and they take the shortcut. Instead of doing it's like yeah, our politicians are corrupt, but yeah, we have like institutions and stuff like that, and nice NGOs that probably do something against it. That's the happy end, you know. And for me it would be like we have corrupt politicians, and the NGOs and institutions are just as corrupt, and no, the system won't regulate itself, and the only happy end I could imagine is the people taking back their lands. And like in a revisiting of what order means, what true order is like or looks like. Yeah. But yeah, that's a bit harder to imagine, I think. So yeah, the system will probably just regulate itself, guys. Nothing to worry about. Just you can go to work tomorrow. It ain't that bad. And I do understand that this level of thinking is because like otherwise a lot of people would just kill themselves, right? Or have like existential crisis and do really stupid shit. And it's not mandatory that all the normies just turn to schizos. That's also, I don't think, a world that you want to see. And I don't think that there's something unnatural with the normies, the psychos, and the schizos. The only, it's just redirected. It's like we're not living in our natural habitat, and we're like being farmed farmed of our resources. And I mean, really, I don't like to think in that like kind of prison planet sense, but it's turning into that, you know. It's really turning into that, and the devil, the entities, Baal, Abraxas, Demiurge, they're taking over. Yeah. And I mean, there is a lot of evidence, but of course there's no definitive proof, right? But yeah. And so I don't know, mate. I've really tried it. I went to, of course, a lot of psychologists, and I talked to a lot of people because my mom taught me, whatever you think about somebody, everyone's truth has their worth. Like even the homeless, even the mentally retarded, even the people that don't even can perceive reality as nuanced as you. Everyone has that, like every truth has their worth. And to be fair, the actual truth is the whole diversity of all the different possible ways of thinking and feeling. So I talked to a lot of people, and in the end, I never got rid of my loneliness. In the end, I was always for myself. I could talk with somebody for a couple of hours until they get tired, until they feel like they want to do something else. And it's like funny for them until it's not. Until they realize that it's not just a phase. He's actually just crazy. It's like I don't know how to say it. I just take my mind and my psyche and my mental condition, and I do trials with it, or I put it through stuff that other people just feel like they wouldn't do something like that. Like, why scratch on your mental health for something as trivial as the truth? And so I had multiple points where I got close to breaking. The first was when I was 10. The second was when I was 18. Then I had one at New Year's Eve, half a year ago. And now is probably my last. I've tried it all. I did try to improve myself, do looks, make things. Also think, I don't look that bad. I'm 175, so I'm not on the larger side, but also not on the smaller side, just average. I have pretty good. I have good stuff to work with, I've got told that I was charming, energetic, that I had like a character. The only issue, right, is at longer exposure, people get, like I said, exhausted, tired, and it seems like, from my perspective, it seems like I'm trying to convince a civilian to dip his toes into my war, right? Because of course I want to tell him, lost peasants, it's your war as well, for God's sake. But of course the Naomis won't join us, at the front at least. They work in the factories, but unfortunately the factories are not serving our war efforts. Not yet. Yeah. And I can tank it. I can tank the truths. The war is not the problem. The loneliness. We're sitting here alone for so long. And everyone I talk to is just a civilian. Nobody of them is real. They are involved in the war, of course, right? Sometimes they even fight for the opposite side. I thought them really annoying. Especially in Germany, right? All this self-hatred. And also with Christianity. But yeah, that's something else. And it doesn't look good, guys. Because the question is how is this gonna change? And the system is not gonna regulate itself. Nothing will come out of the system and help us, or not enough at least. So the only real sense there could be is that you have somebody that has maybe even international trust. So much trust though that he could change something that the system could never do. Like a king. Somebody who stands above the law and the system. Somebody who can just theoretically execute somebody if he thinks it's mandatory. There would need to be a real reasonable person though. And somebody who's not a puppet. Somebody who can prove he is really just there to do everything for his people. And since there is not just one humanity, not just one culture, of course he would need multiple of those people. And it seems unlikely. It seems like there's no going back. It seems like it's a one-way ticket to hell. And all the fake opposition, right? The right wing, the left wing, it is all just part of the system. And because if you break it down, how politics, how parties work, you understand really quickly. They're not really meant. It's understandable why there is no good politicians, why there is no hope in that kind of sense, why there is no vote you could ever make in most countries in the West that would actually help. So yeah, it really seems like we're kind of screwed, guys. And like I said, I only can believe that a new kind of religion, a new kind of Bible needs to be produced, something that is so relatable, so impactful, something that is smarter than the thing that is enslaving us right now. And I really was thinking sometimes that I could provide that kind of wisdom and knowledge, that I could evaluate it in the right way. Because I understand that the truth sometimes is a choice. Because of course you can just gaslight yourself until you believe that you can believe nothing, that you actually just know a bunch of pile of shit. But there's also more reasonable evaluations. And like I've been locked into my mind since probably I don't know, a long time. I had a long time to think about basically everything. And I do think that there is hope. There's hope in, how do they say it? Like illumination. No, that's a different word for it. But you know what I mean. Like, with understanding, with knowledge comes power. And I think it's the only thing that, because I think that's the main aspect of this war. Confusion. Confusing the people in their perception of reality, telling them that their gut feeling and heart feeling maybe has sometimes its place, but mostly not. Keep their nose down and do their thing. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really seem too well, and especially not for myself, because, like I said, wherever I go, it seems like being magnetically being pulled away from people, and they can take a lot of effort to get some social interaction, but it's never really a natural thing, because the people I meet, they don't have any like their desires are not fit with somebody like me, because I question a lot when I see somebody. I had like this guy who was like really like pseudo intellectual, and then he was like also partially doom scrolling on Instagram, and I was like what are you doing? Like you're completely rotting your attention span or something like that. Go stare at the wall, you little intellectual. And then they're getting pissed off. And I'm not telling him like that, right? I have like my manners and stuff like that. I know how to be nice and polite. Because also part of something my mom told me, always expect you're talking with yourself. Treat other people how you want to be treated. And I want other people to like slightly, tell me what when they think something about me. But of course I don't want them to tell it me in a way where it's hard for me to accept. And yeah, and then they're like defending themselves because or like also like a thing, he's like a Warhammer 40k fan, and I mean it looks like a cool stuff, but of course it's like basically showing the world right now just like in a different setting, because it is like the humanity is fighting until its bitter teeth, and theoretically like this like Warhammer energy, like this like being like a fascist and being like completely fanatic, because it's like it's either us or them. This is like the energy that would actually help us in the real world, and it's being extracted to like another plane, another field, where this energy is like just like okay being wasted, right? Because instead of being fanatic, and like fighting the real world for their humanity, they're getting into Warhammer and like live it in a fantasy, and like in a fantasy that like has like nothing to do with this world, right? And every time they get this like feeling that maybe humanity is under attack and we need to fight for our own people again, then they think like yeah, it's like a Warhammer thing. It's like how they have it in the movies. And it's also something like video games, movies, a lot of stuff from the old world of stuff that was part of our lives, how we used to think, how we used to act, how we used to create things. A lot of that energy is being transferred into fictional stuff, into books, media. So like in a way that all the hero attributes, all what it theoretically means to be the good guy, and stuff like that. It's all only shown in the movies, and in real life there ain't no heroes left, because the real world is about escaping. And also something I think that is part of the new world order, that escape from this reality it will be more and more part of what life is, where it is also like upside down. It shouldn't be like that. Like life shouldn't just suck so hard that you're just dreaming about cool shit all the time, right? Because there's reasons why you might not have a girlfriend. There's reasons why life feels so lifeless, where everything feels so meaningless, right? Our streets are completely spiritually depraved. Architecture is completely at its lowest point. I mean, it's basically Minecraft houses they're building, right? It's the most basic shite they're building. And then they also say, oh yeah, it's because money efficiency and stuff like that, which also shows, yeah, that's the way of thinking. Infinite growth and money, 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 and profit, 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 and nobody really cares about the quality that we live in, right? And then you're asking, okay, how do we get to this point? Yeah, like it's think about like when you're starting to think about big stuff, the big picture, it might be helpful sometimes to scale it a bit down. Imagine the world is a Minecraft server, and let's imagine the Minecraft server isn't really nice. So who could you blame? The admins. Maybe you need to check the admins, the people who are in control of what the people think, the people who have built up this system, right, out of the ashes from the old world. But yeah, I don't know, mate. I think we're proper cooked. And not just the West and the white people. Like I said, those entities, they don't care about the religion, the race, anything like that. They want to see us all cooked. And if the world, it could also be the other way around, that it wouldn't be Zionists, it could also be like whoever, in the end, whoever finds himself to serve the devil. Yeah. Yeah, it's really cooking me as well. And especially because no one really wants to expose themselves to something like that. But I don't want to be part of this, like, how you say, like hypnotic, like bridging phase, like the bridge between the Second World War and the New World Order. This like hypnotic transitioning phase, where people, when at some point people, when the proper system is standing and people kind of start to realize what kind of dystopia they just built up, a dystopia that actually they have been warning themselves about all the time. It's not that nobody knew it was coming, but nobody did anything. How could people be so oblivious, It's a bit like how we blame the Nazis, right? How could they be part of such a bad system or something like that? And yet they're even better Nazis. They build an even bigger system, yeah. And everyone is like doing their little efforts, and nobody really knows what they could do against it. And because of course they don't understand that it's like a psychic war. That firstly and mainly, it's your attention span. Or not just the attention span, just your attention at all. Because attention is basically the focus of what part of reality you are like running through your system. So if you're just doom scrolling all the time, or whatever you do with your attention span, right, it will like that will be reality. Whatever you pay your attention to will be part of your reality. So that's like the first thing to you need to like get back, that you decide what you want to think about, that you decide what you give your attention to, and that sometimes staring at a wall can be 1,000 times more real than doom scrolling. It might not be as dopamine spamming, but that's also, of course, also a thing, a part of it, right? To get your body back under control. But like people my age, they don't even work with their attention span. Like they just everyone is doing it. Okay, then it's okay. Yeah, I don't know, mate. Yeah. We're proper cooked, I think. I'm trying to think if there's like anything else really important I want to say. But I think it's better to. I think it's not bad to die for this war. It's not nice. It's not a happy end. There's maybe a lot of things I could have still done, but every war has its casualties, and I'm pretty certain there's more people like me, and because I was at the point where when I was 18, 17, I kind of knew, maybe it was like some little hope, but I kind of knew it's probably not happening, and I really would need like proper luck to make something with it, and I knew either I kill myself now or I will have a couple more years of pain, and maybe it just comes down back to the same thing. And right now it really does seem like that. It still was worth it, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Hard to say. But I rather kill myself in this kind of mind state with this bigger pile of knowledge I have than back in like the nihilistic phase when I thought it's just really nothing and it all just chaos and blah 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 blah, And I also feel a bit more prepared for death. I've explored more beyond the certain and have evaluated more stuff, and came across also multiple ideas from other people that got me thinking a bunch of multiple theories of what this could be about. And because, like I said, I'm 100% sure that there is something, but we will see. And sooner or later we all have to see. And to be fair, I do think sometimes, how to say, maybe this world is lost. Maybe those entities, maybe that's not the first planet they have taken over, And maybe we just have to hop off the server, make sure we don't get into the reincarnation trap, and find a better server where they haven't taken over yet. I don't know. But it really does seem like madness. It's of course not showing itself in its purest form yet, but if you really are aware just of the surroundings, and like you don't even have to go out. You don't even have to look on the phone and the internet or something. You just have to look into yourself, and you already see the madness. You already see how this world is, what it has done to you. Then you can think about like the normies, your normie friends, your family, and you can see what it has done to them. You know, they might not be aware, they might not be as cooked as you, but they're certainly cooked in a different way. They just don't know it. When I think about like my father, who is like, he just cannot understand how I could be suicidal, how I could care about this planet. He said to me that, yeah, maybe we just have peaked as Western society, and like the Christian evening land, or whatever you call it, and we just live in a downfall and just enjoy the ride, you know. And like this, I cannot stand it, you know. I mean, we have bloodlines of like thousands of generations that have lived on this land, right? And they have gone through so much shit just so we can just like give it away, you know, like just giving it up. I guess we have just peaked, and now it's going all to shit. What we're gonna do about it, son? And then, you know, I'm telling him, you know, there's stuff we could do, you know. And the first thing for you would be that to allow yourself to get mad, to allow yourself to be pissed, to allow yourself to give yourself, you know, to don't give this reality right now every benefit of the doubt, and that everything is just meant to be like that, and allow yourself to think about how much better it could be. And yeah, so much shit. Yeah. And yeah, I don't know what to say, guys. Maybe I will do a little update ski. Don't know yet, because right now I feel like tomorrow evening might be the day already. I try to hold on for a bit longer, but it really seems so pointless, you know. I try to go out, I try to meet a girl or something like that, and like it's not really happening. And the times it's happening, it's like, it's just disappointing, you know. Like there was like, you know, we can talk about this a bit. I had like a girl working at a tobacco store, right, where I get my cigarettes all the time. And she was like starting to flirt with me, like kinda a bit. And yeah, I guess because like sometimes I don't hide my brokenness. And she was like, oh, you look like you need a hug, and stuff like that. She was like flirty a bit. And so a week later or something, I prepared myself and I asked her out for a date. Then she gave like a vague answer. Nothing really happened. Then I had to come again. We changed the number. We made up a date and stuff like that. So, and yeah, and we like met. And she was like okay. She was like nice looking and stuff like that. And but she was like super like in the state narrative, like human rights, and we need to help those poor people in the undeveloped countries and stuff like that. So you already kind of know where you're coming from. And yeah, and she had like some really strong opinions about like this like new agey, we need to save the whole planet shit. And like one thing was like she also liked to like wear like Prada and Gucci and whatever this bullshit is called, like, right? And I was like, that's like kind of weird, no? Like that you like kind of have like this opinion, and then she was like, yeah, but it feels like nice and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, okay. And then I was like asking her, like, I was like talking about how I was on my travels, and I was like backpacking in Egypt. Now came to like a remote village, and when I was like walking along the street, everyone like loudly shut their door, like nobody wanted to interact with me. And I wanted to show that like racism also can work like the other way around, that it's just like a natural community thing. Like racism is like more of like it's like it's like a word that's like, how you say, emotionally charged. Yeah, but in the end it's a complete normal thing to a certain degree. To a certain degree, that right. But and she was like, yeah, but maybe you just disturb those people and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, just the way like also people like people over here can be disturbed from other people coming from somewhere else. It's completely normal. And she was like, yeah, but it has nothing to do with racism. That's discrimination. And I was like, isn't that like the same thing? And she was like, there is no racism against white people. That's a fact. You can Google that. And I'm not kidding. She said that. I didn't bother to Google it, to be fair. Maybe she's right. But yeah, it just shows like. And I told her, I was like asking her, like, does she know know about like the World Economic Forum, how like all of those people who supposedly against each other on the world stage are like suddenly complete friends and agree on most stuff on the World Economic Forum. And she didn't even know what that thing was. And she like was like a complete normie. She was like a complete normie, right? And in the end, and also like sometimes I said like stuff because when you like talk about the shit, you don't really get around like sounding like Hitler at some point. And sometimes she was like aiming like pointing her fingers at me, and was like, oh, you gotta watch your mouth, otherwise the left police is gonna come. And she did it in a joking way, but I didn't find it too funny, to be fair. And in the end, I also told her that I've voted for the right-wing party and stuff like that, and that I don't really think we're gonna get along far. Like I said, I'm not right-wing, I'm not left-wing. I don't think you should enslave yourself to that level of thinking and right and left or liberal or this or that. Think for yourself. And maybe some of those words are more fitting than others, but like using like these words from the main stage, like racism, left, right, shit like that, they're all so charged, and they're also they're words who are hard to work with. And like I said, you enslave yourself to a certain level of thinking if you use those words in the intentional way. But I told her that, that I'm basically like her. I didn't told her like that, but like in the end, I'm like kind of her political enemy. The right wing conspiracy theories, and whatever, the racist. But she said, yeah, okay, but you can still write me if you want to hang out a bit or something like that. So like I said, like. But it's just sad, it's just sad. I don't want to just have like sex or something like that. I want somebody who really understands me, and it just doesn't seem like to happen. And and like I really try to be honorable and to wait for the right one or something like that, but it seems like it's never happening, and I can't take this loneliness anymore, I have to say. Like and like all the people, the psychologists and stuff like that, they're all just paid to help you, right? And like they don't love you, and that's like, I guess, like the thing. Like, it would be nice to have somebody that loves me, but I've been looking from the bottom, from the top, from the sides. And I mean, yeah, it was not a small amount of time. I was in my apartment just extracting wisdom from the internet. But I tried so much shit, and I'm at a point where I'm just exhausted, and I really just started to hit my breaking point. Where I'm in the end now here talking this nonsense, and because I started also doing memos to myself, talking a lot about shit, because there's no one to talk to. So every time something even completely trivial happens, I can grab my phone and talk to myself and trick my brain into that there's actually somebody listening. And I don't know if anyone hears this, but I hope it's a warning, because like I said, I wouldn't I mean, I did some other videos on the channel, but I don't even really remember much I was talking about, because I really tend to get off track with shit. But I wouldn't be making this memo right now if I would still think I had like a week left or something, you know. To be fair, I feel like, I don't know, a couple of days, you know. I'm really at a point where I just want to give up, you know. I'm just losing every day, you know. I'm just in pain, and all the little nice stuff is basically just daydreaming about a life that's better. And sometimes you get into situations where it feels like it's so close to be something. It's so close for the misery to end, or the loneliness at least, you know. It's not that I want a complete conflictless life without pain or something like that. I can take pain, I'm a man, but I can't take like being completely lonely and lost. I mean, I wouldn't say lost, but I at least know where the front is, but I'm just alone, you know, sitting in my bunker, sometimes occasionally shooting a bit back, but mostly just tanking artillery hit after artillery hit, you know, until I lose my fucking mind in this bunker. There's no help coming, no cavalry or no air support. I mean, to be fair, I mean, we got the internet. We got the internet, that's something. I mean, it could be worse. And I still think there is this chance. I still think there is a possibility. There's still a way we could just about avoid it, you know. But I also tend to, I mean, I wouldn't call it visions, but I tend to have a really imaginary mind. And I was trying to picture a big metaphor of what is happening. And I saw a pack of wolves hunting down a deer in the forest. And instead of the deer running away how it should, to run for its life, it's laying drugged on the floor. And the wolves are coming, and they start to eat the deer, but the deer is on so heavy drugs, it's not feeling any pain. Oppositely, it actually feels happy. It feels like it is helping. Those poor wolves, you know, they also need to eat, you know. And I still think, there's a bunch of deer that could run away, but most of us are just drugged, hypnotized, waiting for being eaten slowly alive. And yeah, it's hard to see. It's hard to see it like that. There's certainly also different viewpoints. It's not that it's all and 100% bad, but to be fair, most of the good stuff in the world is part of the tragedy. How those good-hearted people like my father are being turned completely pacifist and useless. And they're not even willing to defend themselves. They're not even willing to fight. And not everyone has to sacrifice themselves or something like that. Not everyone can be a hero, but yeah, those fucking normies. But I think as soon as somebody comes up with a compilation of knowledge, a perception of reality that's hard to challenge, maybe even so hard to challenge that it might even be, like I said, like a new religion, like something where normies could be part of it. Because I know how they work. I was a normie. I'm somewhat of a normie myself. We all want to be something special, especially the normies. The schizos don't have to worry too much about being special because they're the embodiment of it. And being something special doesn't always mean it's nice. Maybe it can mean it's just even harder for you. Things are not born special, you could say. They're made. Special training resolves into special people. But I'm losing myself. I'm trying to think of anything else. I might just do a second one and upload this. To be fair, I feel like nobody will listen to this. It's just a guy ranting close before his demise. But it needs to get out there. The word needs to be spread even in small amounts. And if somebody does hear it, it's a warning. I'm young, I'm intelligent, I'm medium size, I'm not fat, I have a good looking face, I do shave myself, I do care about myself, I did some looks maxing, I have character, and yet it feels like I did all the things I thought, I did what I thought was right. And I had to start thinking about what is right way earlier before most people. And yet I'm still here, sitting lonely in agony, in pain, without a father or mother to call, without any friends to meet up, without a girl to hold her hand or something, or whatever you do in a relationship. I couldn't know, right? I couldn't know. And it's not that I'm just like a gaming introvert who never left his house. I mean, I did like 8 different jobs. I have moved like 3 different times. I was traveling for half a year with my backpack, no touri buses, no hotels, just exposing myself, getting out of the comfort zone, how they like to say. And I did all the stuff I thought I had to do to, in the end, of course, deserve love, or at least deserve the kind of love I wish myself. And yet, everything I do seems to make it worse. The further I go, the further I seem to distance myself from the others. And I could understand, yeah, those are the normies. I'm just going down the road of the schizo. And sooner or later I will meet those people. Sooner or later I will meet my proper schizo friends. But I didn't. Not at the normal jobs, not at the weird jobs, not at the travel, not at the help institutions and psychologists and group therapies. I didn't found it at the political shit, neither the left nor the right. Like I said, I looked everywhere. And I mean, I could understand that most of them are hiding as well, right? Because and here it's safe. There's no normie to judge me over here. And to be fair, all the mental energy in this world that supports me, that doesn't make me feel like I'm the only person thinking like that, it's all in the internet. There's nobody to meet out there. And I don't know, maybe I was just unlucky. Because then I have like stories like I met like a 40-year-old Norwegian guy on playing DayZ, and we had like a friendship for like half a year or something with some troubles, but besides that we were talking, or he told told me that he had a girlfriend who was also basically talking nonstop about like conspiracies and Rothschilds and bloodlines and shit that happened like 200 years ago, and she couldn't get off it. And he's like a really scientific thinking guy, and he thinks it's all just made up and conspiracy theory, and he doesn't believe most of it. And he likes this like idea that people always will see what they want to see, so basically nobody knows anything. He's like also like this, he's also not really helping the war efforts, if you want to see it like that. And yeah, he his girlfriend just killed herself at some point, right? And I guess she was a proper schizo. Yeah, also he said that she had like drug problems and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know, that's like stories I people tell me they know schizos, but it's always outside of my reach. And especially with schizo girls, they always seem to get into the hands of guys who are not schizos and basically just normies. And like I said, every normie thinks of themselves as something very special. So it's like hard sometimes to distinguish to be fair, if you're a real proper schizo yourself, you just instantly notice with the vibe and the energy if somebody is a schizo or not. They just talk different. They just think different. They just are in a different kind of reality. And then those schizo girls always gets into the hand of those like normies, and then they're breaking, because the normies just trying to fit her in and stuff like that, and yeah, it's just tragic. It's just tragic, right? And then I think to myself, why can't I find myself a proper schizo girlfriend? I don't know, man. It's and also like with the internet, I tried online dating and stuff like that, right? Because that's like the thing where I was like, yeah, I guess it's also like part of the corruption of this planet, of course, that at this point also our sexual and love interest desires are being administrated and monetized. But besides that, I tried it. I tried it first on what was it, Bumble, or what the bullshit is called. No luck at all. I did it for like a couple months, 3 months or something, together with Tinder. Tinder also nothing. I also got like kinda shocked how hedonistic, or like how like, yeah, like how like the dating scene, like how big this is, this like pile of people that just want situationships and just want to fuck around a bit and want to have like 10 minutes of nice conversation and then just fuck around, and was something. And then actually, yeah, I was lucky. At the start of this year, in January, my grandma just died. And then this girl wrote me. She was a, how you call it, like a nurse. Yeah, she was a nurse. And since I'm kind of like a soldier soul, it was kind of intriguing. And she was also like goth girl and shit like that. And we had like a nice conversations. I don't really had the best experience with riding with girls. Like talking to them, if you have them in front of you, that's something else. That usually goes. I don't have much problems with that, but like this, like chatting and like getting like the base to have a date and start to actually get to know each other. It was a rough one, but I really tried to make it clean, to play it clean and natural and be authentic and stuff like that. I have learned over the past failures a lot, and it really seemed like to be the proper schizo girlfriend I wanted to have. She said that she was like having like sleepless nights because of the world pain. She said that she was also like more into like right wing, and or at least that like the immigrants and the left people in Berlin are really pissing her off. And she asked me what I'm like educating myself with, and I don't remember too much, but like history, the occult, but also like I don't know, sometimes like scientific stuff, whatever is needed to understand reality. There's a lot to do with, and I named her like 5 or 6 different like areas of things I educate myself with, and she said, "Oh, that's like the same stuff I also tend to watch and stuff like that." And it really looked really nice, and I instantly had like this feeling this is a bit too good to be true, because she was also like a nymphomanic, and since I don't have any experience with it, and I've saved myself up. Of course, she said that she didn't had like too many people before that, and yeah. But of course, the idea was kind of nice, right? To have like this like proper schizo girlfriend, and just get yourself into world pain and then just fuck around. Seemed very promising. Then suddenly her mother died, and she hadn't wrote me for a month or something, and in the end it just vanished. She just vanished. She at one point just didn't answer anymore, and it did go completely nowhere. Which further gives me this feeling of it's not really meant to be, right? And I mean, it was an isolated case, but like I said, it was multiple times that the luck seemed to be in reach, and then it just vanished. And in the end, I'm always coming back and being lonely, you know. It's also something, it's not that I feel much depressed, of course, when I started, and like especially when I was a nihilist, that was more of like this like classic depression, because like I think there are some really smart people out there, you know, because if I just think about what my mom did to me, my mom that all she knew she taught herself. If you think about like an elite family that progresses, like keeps their progress, where not some world wars are happening all the time, so your generational wealth and generational knowledge is being like attacked on all the time, when you actually can preserve knowledge over generations, I think you can make some really damn smart kids. And I think there are some people who are smart enough to know that not just to think about what the normies are meant to think, but also to off-lead the schizos or the upcoming schizos, to like set up traps and like rabbit holes that lead to nowhere, or in the best, of course, to self-annihilation. And of course it seems contradictory, since I'm only here speaking because I will self-annihilate myself, probably. So in the end, you know, they still got me, if you want to see it like that. But and I mean, I've walked into some of their traps, but I've gotten out again. And the only trap I'm sitting in, I feel like, it's not just I got this like feeling that I'm not being trapped right now, but I'm watching like everyone else being stuck somewhere else, you know. It's like I mean, it's hard to say it like that, you know, but it feels like a bit like, you know, like I'm like at the mountaintop and everyone else is just, you know, struggling or not even bothering to go up, you know. I really watch how much what I do with my attention span. I really consider what I give my energy and my thinking to. You know, I don't watch the World Cup or any series or movies anymore. Like so much stuff that I used to do that was implanting ideology into me without me knowing. You know, it's not a problem to get a glimpse of like ideology or different ideologies out there. The main problem is if it goes undetected. And yeah, I spent a lot of time being so much alone that I realized how much foreign ideas I had in myself, how much walls were built around certain things that I just thought were natural. And I completely had to redefine myself. And I did all that bullshit. Now I'm here. And I'm happy with myself, and I'm happy to fight this war. To at least die knowingly. But yet I'm dying. And yet we're losing. Ja. Blöd. Scheiße. Merde. I will take a break. I will consider some more, because all the stuff I'm saying here is my message, what I want to say, what I feel like what shouldn't go unheard. Even though probably not much people are gonna hear this, but there's a war. There's an invisible war between psychos, normies, and schizos. It's not the most accurate depiction of what is happening, but it's close enough to work with. And the people need to know. It's okay that they fight for the opposite side. But the people shall know. Because when the Third World War happens, I think after that the new system will be in place. You know, all good things are three, how they like to say. And they're preparing the stage for a big last war to completely annihilate the cultures, to completely annihilate the little that's left of the old world order. But yeah, I think that's my report from the front for now. Like I said, I might go into it a bit further a bit later. But I think this shall be it for now. And stay tight. And may you survive longer than me. Right then. That was it. Until later.